21 days.
21 days.
I don't actually know if it's been 21 days, but it feels longer
21,
than that.
It feels longer than that.
Since we've released a podcast.
Yep. Hope y'all missed us.
You missed me?
Miss me?
But we missed you guys, but not as much as we needed to have a break and really focus on what is super important to us.
Family. Us.
And each other. And y'all, it's okay to take time to reset and refocus on what's important to you. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we are.
Perfect.
Welcome to the Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alanna Mizell, a loving mother of two, a devoted wife to Steven, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Steven Mizell, caring father of two, a devoted husband to Alanna, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives, who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for the Mizell Show.
Right now. Yo, we're back.
It's been 3 weeks.
It's been 3 weeks. Yeah, I guess it's been 3 weeks.
I hope that people noticed.
Man, they did, they didn't, they did not. We know at the end of the day, we took that break for us.
We did.
You know, we appreciate the fans and the listeners, but sometimes you gotta put yourself first and take a couple weeks off to recap, to rethink.
I think that's a critical thing for us lately, and even for me. I actually had somebody reach out to me today that I've connected with before on my Instagram, and she's just like, I just wanted to check in on you because I noticed that you weren't as active. So what was interesting is that somebody noticed that. Secondly, that as active, like, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
You know,
I guess they're so used to seeing you every single day,
all the time,
all
my
the
face,
time,
blah 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 blah. But and mentally, I just really needed to create some distance, just with what our family's going through. Y'all, we still haven't found a house. We're itching closer, but we still haven't found a house. And like for a lot of people, that doesn't weigh on them. For me, my undergrad is in fashion and home furnishings. But more so than that, my love language is creating a home for my family. Yep. So, and like that's a massive creative outlet for me.
It's definitely a massive creative outlet for you, and that's why we kind of threw some shows together the last few weeks. But at the end of the day, we had to take time for ourselves, and we do this because we enjoy it. And when it becomes forced, and it becomes like, oh, we got to crank something out, or got to do something.
That's not what we're here.
It's not what we're here to do.
I think you guys could hear that the authenticity would not have been there.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that the best episodes that we've done are those that we're excited to communicate about, but almost are unplanned.
Yeah.
And are just more authentic.
Yes. And they're authentic, and you can just hear in our voice in terms of just where we are and how we are. So, long story short, we'll give you guys a quick recap. In the last 3 weeks, we have not found a house. We are still looking. We have become more diligent in the search. You know, earlier on, we were really green and excited, and we were jumping at everything that jumped out.
I was going to say, not necessarily more diligent, but more picky. Because diligency would be us looking more. We're looking more.
I think diligency is, I think we're being more diligent because we're like looking into the house, doing the research. Do we want to do this job?
I see what you're saying. We're being more diligent in terms of what our must-have list is. Versus just like, let's see if it feels good.
Yeah. It's also protecting our family because the first few weeks we were seeing like 10 houses a week.
Every night.
Just hop in the car. It was exhausting.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think we understood what toll it was taking on us mentally.
Yes.
Until after. And I think that's another reason that we needed a break from the podcast, just to actually have time at night, just me and you.
Yeah, and I think that's what's important. Mm-hmm. It's important to take those moments and take the step back and to even reevaluate where you are.
Yeah.
And it might not be fun. So at the end of the day, we can just, I think this is it's a standpoint of, let's just let people know what we've been doing these 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And
yeah, and I think it's also, it's going to sting a little bit as I say this, but it's also the reality that life keeps going. Even though we took a break.
Yes.
And okay, so here's a good example.
Yes,
you leave a job.
Yeah, I do.
And you've put your all into this job because you've been living to work, not working to live. Let me say that again. You've been living to work, not working to live.
Yeah.
And so your mindset has been, I'm going to put everything I've got into this job.
Yes.
Then you decide to take a different role.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, they're going to miss me. They're not going to know what to do without me. And, there may be components of your job that sting when you leave and they feel the absence of you. And, that's great. But the reality is the work still has to get done.
Yes.
And if you leave and you are just waiting for people to call you to be like, gosh, we missed you so much to come back. For you to say, no, I'm not coming back. Like, what is that? But, don't we all, a little bit of us, kind of want to hear that?
Yeah, I think that's what people assume. You leave a job and you think, sometimes people think the world's going to fall apart and they just keep it moving. They have to keep it moving. Like, most of the time you're leaving an organization that they put practices and things in place. So if one person leaves, they are able to keep going. But you have chosen to be emotionally spent. You've chosen to neglect your family. You've chosen to do all these things for this job. And the job may or may not require you to, but you thought you had
because
to.
Because you've been spending your whole life
being told.
The definition of you is your work. If they say, Steven, tell me about yourself. And the first thing you say is your work. Is that how we were designed?
Yeah.
I don't think this podcast to us is not work.
No.
We don't have an income from this podcast at this moment.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. It is a hobby.
Yes.
It gives us life.
Yeah.
It's something we enjoy doing. But when we're looking at our actual jobs, one of the biggest things that both Steven and I are clinging to right now is that we are working for the paycheck. Not that we don't enjoy what we do, but we're not living and breathing every moment to where if they say, Alanna, who are you? My first response is what I do for work.
Yeah.
I want my first response to be follower of Christ, mother of two, wife to Steven, long before I ever dictate or narrate what I do on a daily basis.
Yeah, and that's something that I think we as Americans, we definitely struggle with that. You lose your identity in that job, and it's very easy to because the work-life balance has been thrown out of the window. The whole 80 hours a week, it's so convoluted. Right. And I think that you as a person listening to this podcast, you have to evaluate where you stand in terms of your job. And what Alanna just said I think was very, very important was I think the first time in my career I actually have a job that I enjoy, but I have had the mentorship and the leadership and the onboarding to know that I can be really good at this job, but this job won't make me and my family.
Right.
And every job that I think I've been to this point, I was sacrificing everything for the job. And the job never said I needed to, but I felt like I had to. I was like, if I answer that phone call at 8:30 at night and help that student, if I go do this, then that would just help me out.
You close down the boundaries in between you and your job.
Yeah.
And, to that point, when you think about, there's the Disney movie Coco. Yeah. And they put their loved ones up on the ofrenda.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And what's interesting about that movie, if you've never seen Coco, is they shun the grandfather, Papa, because he went off to work.
Yeah.
And he was making his work his life. But his life was at home. To the point that they actually closed him out of their life and they didn't pass down his story.
Yeah.
And when you actually think about sharing stories about people around your dinner table and you to ask your grandparents about people, their siblings, their loved ones, their cousins, or whomever it might be, rarely, as I think about it, do I hear or remember a story of somebody's work.
Dude, that hits home. Because if you really think about it and you talk through like your gram or my grandmother or my great uncle, I couldn't actually, like, the first thing that comes to mind isn't, oh, she worked 45 years at the post office.
Not even close.
Not even close. I don't even know what your gram did as a living.
Well, so my gram was a boss because during World War II, she went and ran a furniture factory and managed all these men that couldn't get into the military. But
that's not the first thing I remember of her, though.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, you remember her as a strong female, but you don't understand how she got there.
Yeah.
She did work at a used bookstore, but that's because she loved books.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the reason that my sister and I and my mom love books the way we do is because she had those books come to life in our life, not because she was living to work.
Yeah.
And it's just a different, I mean, I'm thinking about my dad's parents who I've never gotten the privilege to meet.
Did you know that I sell makeup? Not only do I sell makeup, but the makeup that I sell is 3D makeup, which allows you to highlight and contour your face in a super simple compact. As a mom, I could not survive without my simplified routine. Not only that, but it's exactly what you need. Exactly when you need it, all in one spot. Go ahead and check out Alanna Mizell on Instagram or alannamizell.com to learn more.
I don't know what my grandfather did for work.
I don't know what my grandmother did either.
And I know my grandmother stayed home because they had 9 kids. But like, even that, like, I don't hear about how she kept the house. Yeah. Because that was her job.
Yeah, yeah.
What I hear about are the nuances about my grandmother.
Yeah.
The funny idiosyncrasies,
the quirky things,
like her genuine personality.
Mm-hmm.
And like, unless you...
And we're losing that now. We are losing that.
We're missing that. We just actually came home from dinner at Steven's parents' house. And they asked us, we've kind of started to do this.
We're trying to do something.
We're really trying to do more of like a Sunday dinner with them. Very casual. But y'all, we turn the corner. They see Granny and Papa's house and they scream, our kids do. And there's just so much life.
Yeah.
That is breathed into both Steven and I, and so much joy and gladness.
Yeah, and I think something else about that is that you kind of mentioned is the fact that like we're trying to, me going to my parents' house this time last year, if I was even able to go, the conversation would have been about work. The conversation would have been about work at the end of the day.
You wouldn't have been able to go.
I wouldn't have been able to. You would have been at work. I wouldn't have been able to go, but if I was to go,
hypothetically,
the conversation, it's refreshing to go now and to have the conversation, and it's how is work going, talk for a little bit, and we're on to
it
other
was like
things.
The first 15 minutes, how's work
going?
And
then we were discussing, education. What are we watching on Netflix? How are you feeling about the work?
We're cracking jokes,
and it's
Steven's
refreshing.
Steven's dad and I tend to gang up on Steven because that's just how we roll. But those are the moments when you think back on your life. And I think that's one of the pivotal things that happened during 2020 was that we were gifted the option to either make memories or spoil it. And I'm blessed that even through so much turmoil in both Steven and mine's life, I would say that
we made some memories.
We hung and clung on to memories.
We definitely made some memories, and we had some moments of awakenings, and I think it's very important to you because you said this earlier when you first started the podcast. I had a coffee, a drink with a friend the other day. I went to my spot. Our spot's Nutrition Hub. Like that's the low key spot. So shout out to Nutrition Hub.
East Memphis.
East Memphis. Yeah,
East Memphis. They know who we are. They know who our kids are.
We enjoyed them. But I went there and we were having a conversation. This friend reached out to me. I hadn't talked to him in a while. It's just one of those kind of lingering friendships. But all this to be said.
Lingering in a good way. Not lingering like we need to cut it off.
Lingering in a good way that we always, when we reconnect, it's like, we really haven't missed a beat. But he said this, and I think it's very important. He recently had a friend that passed away to COVID. It hit him hard. Best friend, a friend that he would like link up with at least once or twice a week. And then his wife had a close friend pass away from COVID. Both of these are like family of 3, family of 2, and just it really was gut wrenching. And he said this. He said, people keep saying, next year it'll get better, or the next month it'll get better. But we have to stop thinking like that and just enjoy the moments we have, because life continues to go on.
Yeah.
You're going to always face something. But if you keep thinking, oh, next year this won't happen, or let me just get through this month, and
are y'all even going to be there next year?
Yeah, exactly. So the thing about it, it really resonated to me, because as we as a family go through these things, like, oh, if I get this new job, then it's going to be smooth. No. If Alanna maybe looks at different options, it's going to be, no, it's just, you can't keep setting yourself up thinking that the next thing, and I think that's what we've decided to do on this whole housing search. For a while, I feel like we had this housing search like on a pedestal. Like, hey, we find this perfect house, then everything's going to fall into place.
It really was becoming an idol of our lives.
Yeah. And
because it was like the catalyst to completion.
Yes.
And a catalyst to almost like, okay, well, now we've done the American dream.
Yeah.
You know, Steven's worked for the Division I football program. Cool. Check that off. That looks cool. We've got a podcast. Cool. Alanna's doing great. Cool. You know, she's going to therapy. She's doing better. We got the boy. We got the girl. We got the dog. Shoot, might as well get a cat. Do we need a turtle? Like, what's the, you know what I mean? Oh my gosh, we don't have the 2-story house, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Maybe has a pool, maybe doesn't. Brick exterior, blah, 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 blah. But once we do, we'll have the American dream.
Or once we do, everything will be smooth sailing.
It'll all instantly make sense. And all of these issues will go away. But I think that that's what we think. So for me personally, as I hit ranks with my company, I thought that the ranks were going to fix it. And I think we've talked about this. Yeah. You know, I hit a pretty significant rank in 2020. And it was like 9:30 at night. Steven had arranged for the kids to go to his parents' house. Like, we knew sister was about to hit that junt. And
it was one of those nights, like, we got some adult beverages. We ordered food. The kids were away.
We were about to celebrate.
And the crazy thing is, I had built this up because of seeing Alanna working. I was like, let's
we were ready.
Go.
Like,
we're
we
going to rage.
It was like the Super Bowl up in here.
You got it.
And it was like, we were like waiting for me to get excited. Like, I was waiting for the emotion. And it's not that I wasn't excited.
You didn't finish your drink.
No, I just was like,
meh. Yes.
Well, that was lackluster.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's because I didn't take the time to think back through the moments. I had put so much of my life into that work and removed the actual life from it. So I had removed the moments with my teammates where they got to do something for their family. I removed the fact that I was able to be at home with my kids, still providing some form of income to my family.
Yeah.
I removed the fact that Steve was able to do something that we didn't know was possible. We were able to, you know, there were so many components of memories that were in our life that would have made that so fulfilling.
Yeah.
But because I had positioned it in a form and facet of work and not so much memory, I think that's why when I actually hit it at 9-ish 30, one of my teammates calls, and I think she was expecting me to be like weeping. You know, when I had hit the last rank before that, I had cried.
Yeah.
Because there was so much more compassion around it. And that's not saying I'm not grateful for, but I think that's a prime example of working to live and not living to work.
Yes.
And I was actually just at a conference in San Diego with my company, Saint, and there was one speaker that was talking about the stories of your life and how you tell and you narrate stories. And when you look at companies, those that narrate stories better sell to you better.
Yeah.
You know, and so Steven and I have said this before. We love Simon Sinek, and people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Yeah.
And it's the empathy and the compassion. Why does Apple sell so well?
And the thing about it is, and I was talking to this with my company, we had a sales presentation last week, and in a day and time, when you 95% of the time have at least 2 options to buy something. Like, it's very hard to find like one thing that only one company makes.
That is monopolizing
the market.
Correct.
And with the mixture of COVID and some people having more empathy, having more family time, feeling more. At the end of the day, COVID has brought feeling out of a lot more people.
Right. Whether you understand what you're feeling or
exactly.
not.
But
there's more going on.
Your feelings are awake. And so in doing that, the companies who capitalize through COVID, through these next few years, are the ones that give you that sense of feeling, that sense of like, I am doing this because of the story you're telling me.
I also think it's a component of security.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah.
So, like, through those stories, you feel more secure in your purchase because they're an ethically conscious brand.
You hear the stories.
Right. So,
sure.
She went through and actually was talking about items on eBay that people sold, and, you know, they were showing what they're actually worth and then what they sold for.
Yeah.
But in the description was the story. It was a story about a toy horse that was on the ledge, and this little girl actually used to look out the window and wait for her daddy to come home, and her father had recently passed away, but she needed to close out that grief, so she was finally selling that horse.
Jeez.
So it wasn't the horse.
No, it was
You're
the feeling.
buying the memory.
You're buying the memory from her. You're buying that feeling that you got thinking of what toy that you can't find now when you saw your father.
Right. So, like, another great example, on our porch, y'all, we have a piece of molding from a building in Memphis that Johnny Cash ate breakfast at. Mm-hmm. And I bought it. I brought it home. Steve was like, what are we going to do with that? To me, it's the memory.
Yeah.
Like, I can visually see the building. I can see Johnny Cash in there because I've seen photographs of it. It's the memory of it. I love being able to go around our house and tell you memories of that. But when we work to live and not live to work, it changes that narrative.
It definitely changes that narrative.
You don't have the time for the memories that you're trying to hold dear to.
No, you're right.
So, like, actually telling your story requires you to live your life and not be working all the time. It requires you to have a pony that you're looking out the window and waiting for somebody to come home so then you can create the memories.
Yes, and it's the options for you to take 3 weeks off or take some time off and actually be able to reassess, to reevaluate. And it's okay, but we live in this world that we think if we take a step back, we miss the sale, or they're going to forget about me, or like this built up anxiety.
Oh my gosh, if I don't respond right now, they're going to go with somebody else. Or, oh my gosh, they're not going to end up ordering. Blah, 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 blah.
Our podcast is not going to be as good anymore because we took 3 weeks off.
And you know what, y'all? If we lost viewers because we took 3 weeks off, guess what I got to see? I got to go to San Diego and see a bunch of my teammates that I never get to see. I got to see my little girl playing her first soccer game, score 2 goals, and I was fully present. Was I videoing almost the whole thing? Yes, but
you were fully present,
fully
and
present.
You were there, and you were
Instagram
excited
didn't
about
get
it.
pulled up one at a time. Actually, yes, it did, because I posted a story of her playing soccer.
Yeah.
But, like, I didn't check it to see, oh my gosh, did people look at my story?
I got a chance to hang out with the kiddos solo dolo, which was amazing, and they did a great job with Daddy Daycare. So, you know, those are the moments that we want to continue to cherish and remember, and that's why we took some time off.
Right. And y'all, you don't get an award for working hard. You don't get an award for burning out. You don't get an award for having to go to, you know, a medical clinic because you've run yourself into the ground. If you guys have ever seen the movie Death of a Salesman, he never got an award. He died.
He died. And the thing about it is, it's a perpetual rat race. And life is going to continue to go on, but how you choose to live in these moments in your life is truly up to you. And
one thing that I've been clinging to, I think I've said it probably at least once a week the last couple months. Something has just hit me recently that the reality is I have one time to do this.
One time on this earth.
And like, I don't know what has taken me so long to fully understand that. I've always been chasing the next goal that I've had. And now I'm just like, my next goal is the more memories that I can retain in my head and the more memories that I can create with my family is the whole reason why we're here.
That's why we're here. And that's the thing about it. You have to enjoy that and embrace that. But yeah, it's taken us a few years to realize that, you know, but at the end of the day, we are
lot
here.
Of years.
A lot of years. I'm joking. It's a lot of years.
A lot of years.
I spent 11 years in higher education.
You spent 14 years in higher education.
2000.
You were at MTSU before that. You were 11 at Memphis.
Yeah. And so it's something that we wanted to share with you guys. We took some time off. We're glad you guys are checking in.
I hope you all take the time to think about that. One thing that I did ask Steven while I was in San Diego, I sent him a text message and I said, if you could name 3 major moments in your life, what would they be? Memories.
3 memories.
3 major memories in your life.
Yeah.
And he responded, what was interesting is one of them was the same for me.
Yeah.
And y'all, let me just tell you this also. None of them for either one of us was our wedding day.
No, it wasn't.
We didn't write it down.
We didn't write it down.
Which, not that our wedding day wasn't great, but that
We've
just
grown
tells
so
you,
much from our wedding.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But
you guys, the moment that was the exact same for both of us was being in our old house the last time for Easter.
During COVID, everything was shut down. During COVID,
we
Easter
had
services.
A blanket fort. I made Easter breakfast. We stayed in our jammies all day. Had the most true Sabbath we've probably ever had. Sang Mercy Tree by Anthony Evans. Both Steven and I started weeping. And I just I want to drill that memory into my head. After that was over, we watched National Geographic, literally laying on piles of blankets
and pillows. It was such
so chill. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Just the 4 of us.
Just the 4 of us.
And that, when you sit and think about the most life-changing moments that you've been through,
yeah,
I would bet that they have nothing to do with work.
Yeah.
They have nothing to do with collecting a check. So we would challenge all you guys. We typically end with some sort of a challenge.
We love a good challenge, a nugget, a walk away. Yeah, sit down and think about those.
What are the top 3 moments that if somebody were to say, give me 3 moments of your life that give me a good picture of who you are, what would they be?
We appreciate you guys.
We're so grateful. I hope you guys have a great week. And we're glad we're back. So if you guys are enjoying this, definitely leave us a review. Give us the feedback. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, reach out to us on our website at themizellshow.com. There is a contact section. You can put it in there. We would love to hear about it. Or you can always go over to Instagram at The Mizell Show. Also, as always, don't forget to screenshot this episode and just add it to your stories and tag us on Instagram, on Facebook at The Mizell Show. Thanks, guys. Are you loving The Mizell Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere. Hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizellshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram at themizellshow.